So that all that weight like that is one fine day last stroke.
Hopefully it just means that once you stop lifting all these weights, you'll be able to get back to full.
Lose a little bit. Really. This is the first time I've really taken it. No, I've taken it seriously before. And I've lost a lot. But I think this is now my last run. If it works, because everyone says this is a good diet, but I'm only losing weight.
Oh, yeah, so that you're on a special diet?
I'm doing no carbs.
No carbs. That sounds like it should work.
No sugar.
No sugar sounds like it usually works.
It should do, but you never know.
Maybe it takes a while.
Whole house stinks.
Namaste.
Brie and things like that.
Friends, hearty welcome to you all for the concluding Dr. Shastry Memorial Lectures. Before I request our dear Sandhya Keshava Shastry to come and introduce our speaker, Shatavadhani Dr. Ganesh ji, I would like to thank the Arts Council, State Bank of India, Air India, most importantly, Srimati Sudha Murthy of Infosys Foundation, for making it possible for us to hold this lecture here for the benefit of people in this part of the world. And now I request Sandhya Keshava Shastry to kindly come and introduce our speaker, Sandhya.
Namaste and a very joyful Vijay Dashami to all of you. This evening we have the last in a series of lectures as part of the Dr. Shastry Memorial Series by Dr. Shatavadhani Dr. Ganesh. My late father-in-law, the exceptional Dr. Shastry, who you all know, many of you know, I used to call him my father-in-love. He was a great scholar and came from a lineage of scholars, Sanskrit scholars, and he taught extensively in India and in the UK. And he took it up as his life's mission to kindle the passion for Sanskrit in all his students. Since his demise in 2016, his students and the family have come together with the great support of the Bhavan to have lectures and workshops so that we, every year we have a new reason to get more into Sanskrit, and I hope that you can come year after year and keep in touch with us. This year, we are extremely honored and privileged to have Shatavadhani Dr. Ganesh, who I think it would not be an exaggeration for me to call him a virtuoso rock star of Sanskrit poetry or kavya, because he has the sense of aesthetics and the spontaneity, as well as the in-depth knowledge of the language to compose the most beautiful poetry given any constraints, and he'll talk more about that in this lecture about Avadhanam. He is a polymath and a polyglot. He has in-depth knowledge of several languages and Sanskrit texts, and we are extremely fortunate that he's given us two amazing lectures on the Natya Shastra and on Sanskrit poetry yesterday. I've met a number of his students who had never heard about Sanskrit until they heard his lectures, and after that they have dedicated their lives to learning more. So I hope that's going to happen to all of us today. And without much further ado, I welcome Dr. Ganesh to enlighten us. Thank you.
Yontah pravishya mama vachamimam prasuptam sanjeevayati akhila shaktidhara swadhamna anyanscha hastacharana shravanatvagadin pranam namo bhagavate purushaya tubhyam dikkaladyanavacchinnananta chinmatramurtaye svanubhutyaikamānāya namah shantaya tejase Vamshi vibhushitakarannavaniragabhat Pitambara darunabimba phaladharushtat मुग्धेन्दु सुंदर मुखादरविंद नेत्रात् कृष्णात् परं किमपि तत्त्वमहं न जाने कृष्णात् परं किमपि तत्त्वम् अहं न जाने. Good evening. This is a very auspicious day, very auspicious occasion. It is Vijayadashmi, the concluding day of Sharanavaratri, and I am very happy that on this sacred day I am speaking about something connected with my art, which I fondly cherish, the art of Avadhanam. And I am also very happy to express my gratitude to the Bhavan London Centre here and my long-standing good friend Dr. Nandakumarji, and also I know all his family members, and they represent the cream of Indian culture. In one word I should say that if at all we want to show where exists Indian culture, here in their extended family I see Indian culture. That much we speak everything about him and his extended family. And I also wish to express my deep gratitude to Srimati Sudhamurthy ji, who is also an embodiment of Indian culture and universalism. She, being the chairperson of Infosys Foundation, was really enthusiastic, and she wanted me to speak here. And also with Nandaji's good officers, this was made a reality. And I should also express my immense gratitude to Shri Shastri's family, Dr. Satyanand Shastri's son, Shri Keshav, and also daughter-in-law, Srimati Sandhya Keshava. They were not known to me earlier. Just within 3-4 days, their acquaintance has made me so happy that I should say, Bhavasthirani Jananantara Sohradani, as Kalidasa says, real love and friendship, it goes to past births, and its aroma will be carried to future births as well. So is their affection, and so is their kindness to me. And with this few words, I want to introduce you to the art of Avadhana. Avadhana, the word means focus and concentration. Dhanam in Sanskrit means placing. Ava is the prefix. It means well placing, well placed, well prioritized, well focused. These are all the shades of meaning that can be extracted from the word Avadhanam. It is, of course, anybody's need to focus on any activity, focus on anything that to be known. If not, it will not be accomplished at all. In that sense, one and all should be Avadhanis. Everyone's bare essential thing in this world of pursuit is Avadhanam. But to make it an art, it needs many more things. I always speak, words come out from everybody, but to make it poetry, it needs a lot. So also, everybody can move around, but to make that movement dance, it needs a lot to learn and a lot to practice. And inborn talent, of course, is also needed. Likewise, to make an act, to make a daily routine act, an art, it needs a lot more additives are needed, lot more burnishing is needed. In that sense, Avadhanam, the very act of focusing, needs so many things. The very feature of art is creativity. Art in Indian parlance is called kala. In Sanskrit, the word kala denotes art. It has 3 etymologies: kal sankhyani, kal gato, kal kshepe. These are the 3 different etymologies given based on the root kal. It means it has some calculations, it has some mathematics, it has some procedure, it has a regularity of conduction, it has a predictable dimension, it has certain level of reproducibility, that is sankhyanam. And it has certain dynamism, it has certain imaginative power, it has certain unpredictable dimensions, and that is Gatau. And ultimately, the end result is Kshepe. You should end up in joy, end up in ecstasy, end up in happiness, you should end up in satisfaction, and that is Kshepe. So, in a nutshell, art will have one dimension of head and another dimension of heart. Both clubbed together will end up in immense joy. And that joy, our aestheticians call it as rasa and rasananda. Avadhana is no exception to this. How it will become an art then? While focusing, if we do so many things, it will be a wonder to behold. Multitasking as we call. And this multitasking, if it is coupled with creativity, it will be far more enriching. Suvarna pushpasya gandhena kimuta. If a golden flower is infused with fragrance, what else is better than that? In that way, multitasking should always be coupled with creativity, and that creativity should certainly fetch joy to the listeners, joy to the beholders as well. So in Avadhanam, we have two aspects. One is multitasking, another is tracking that without fail. Meeting the tasks in a creative manner is called as Puranam in Sanskrit, while retentive power, retention effect, and carrying them without derailment, and that is called Dharanam. While doing these two things, completing the tasks, answering the questions, or composing poems or whatsoever in variegated manner to different people who will be sitting around the Avadhani, the performer, and the questioners are called Pritchakas. Prichanti iti Pritchaka. Those who question will become questioning. While doing so, the common man, the common people who are witnessing that, they should be having certain level of enjoyment and certain comfort level, and they should be involved and they should be engaged, and such an engagement, such a sustained engagement is called Sabharanjanam. Some of the people there may not be in a position to appreciate all the finer aspects of it. It so happens in any art. If a classical dance recital is going on, not all people can appreciate the rhythmic pattern, the complexity of the rhythm, and not all people can appreciate, even can recognize the subtleties of facial expression and also the nuances of hand gestures and other things. But they will be deriving some or the other enjoyment. But at the same time, for a lay audience also, the performer should have something to offer, and that is Sabharanjana. For a learned person, it should be wholesome entertainment. But even for the lay, they should not be deprived of the basic joy. This is how a total performance goes on. And in that sense, Purana, completion of the tasks, Dharana, retention of those things, and then Sabharanjana, entertainment, which continues. To speak in a way, while the performer engages his audience with his timely talk, peppy conversation, enlightening discourse and all that, parallelly the other things will also go on. A connoisseur may not even be knowing how all these things are going on, but at the end they'll be realizing, oh, it's a wonderful thing. Along with such a informal and comfortable conversation, so many other things have been accomplished. This is how Avadhanam goes on. And there are many types of Avadhanams. As an art, it has multiple facets. One is Sahitya Avadhanam, based on literature, literary compositions, spontaneous versification, classical poetry. This is the crux of Sahitya Avadhanam. And perhaps the best and the most widely acclaimed form of Avadhanam is Sahitya Avadhanam. It is also the most difficult in a sense, because it needs enormous creativity and scholarship. Then we have Sangeeta Avadhanam, where music will be the medium and multitasking will be done within that purview. I will explain it later, a few details regarding that. And also, I myself developed a new form of Avadhanam called Chitra Avadhanam, where my esteemed friend and a gifted painter by name Dr. B.K.S. Verma, he presented that art, Chitra Avadhanam, where several paintings will be done simultaneously as per the prescribed conditions. While those paintings are going on the diyas, many other distractions will be provided, and they have to overcome those distractions. That overcoming will also be an artistic endeavor, like that it goes on. And then we have something like Natya Avadhanam, a theatrical presentation. Like that, there are several types of Avadhanams. But the real name Avadhanam, in all its essential features, can go well with Sahitya Avadhanam. For here we have the complete features of Purana and Dharana. In many other forms of Avadhanams, here and there, some or the other elements will be missing. I will be focusing mainly on Sahitya Avadhanam. 90% of my deliberations will be in connection with that, because it is the most popular and most widely spread, and also very well explored. More than anything, as I am a Sahitya Avadhani, it is easier and naturally it is judicious for me to speak on that. Well, any Indian art or Indian science or Indian way of life has its roots in Sanskrit and Vedic culture. Directly or indirectly, so many aspects of Indian culture, they are connected to the Vedas. Because Vedas in essence are nothing but fountains of knowledge, Vidya-jnane. And in the Vedic times, we had these four Vedas, Rig Veda, Yajurveda, Samveda. They were all realized by the great seers. It's a revelation. And reciting the Vedas properly and restoring the proper intonation, pronunciation intact, that was a great task, and that was the great responsibility. For that, several techniques were developed, and the Vedas were recited in different patterns to see to it that the text is preserved along with intonation. Something like people became living tape recorders, living compact discs, or living MP3, like that, living hard discs. Because when Max Muller wanted to print the Rig Veda as a text, till then the Vedas were not printed. Of course, there were manuscripts available, but there were manuscripts spread out all over India. And he collected so many manuscripts. And to his wonder, he could not even see even a word being changed. The probable date of the Vedas, even a conservative estimation, says that at least before 6,000 or 7,000 years, the Rigvedic hymns were composed. Since then, without even a recording device, they had maintained the text intact. It means they recited in very sophisticated ways, and that recitational pattern restored. The Vedic text in this basic form is called the Samhita Pata. Then words are split, and that is called Padapata. And then the rearrangement of words in different patterns, it has a system, it has a methodology, Krama, Ghana, Jata, Danda, Dhvaja, Ratha, Mala, like that, Ashta Vikritis, 8 different forms of recitation, very, very complicated. Usually, people who are conversant with the Vedic tradition, they would have heard some words like Ghanapati, Jatapati, like that. What it means, a person who is well versed in that form of recitation, that type of recitation of the Veda is called Ghanapati. A person who can recite Ghana very well is Ghanapati, like that. This was a mental exercise. Retention and concentration were very important here. So that is how the Vedic wisdom harbored the art of Avadhana. Though it was not an art, it was a skill, and that skill later became an art. And even another tradition of Avadhanam, another source of Avadhanam is seen in the Sutras of Vatsyayana. Many people may be shocked if I say Vatsyayana and his work, they provide a lot of input to the art of Avadhanam. Because people who have just heard Vatsyayana's Kama Sutra without looking into the text may think that it's a treatise on erotics. It's partially correct. For it deals with all aspects of a happy life, all aspects of a life which is full of enjoyment, material and cultural enjoyment that is seen in the Sutras of Vatsyayana. And there one section is seen, and that is called Nagarika Vrittanta, how a cultured person should behave. What are the habits and practices of a cultured person, a person of taste, how he will spend his time in an enriching manner, and that is described. And there one small section is devoted to the renowned 64 arts, Shastry Kalaha. In ancient India, very many arts were categorized. Some of them are crafts, some of them are martial arts, some of them are sports, some of them are fine arts. In those fine arts, some are connected with music, some are connected with theatre, and some are connected with dance, and some are connected with literature, and so on. Of them, some 12 to 15 arts are directly or indirectly connected with the art of Avadhanam. It may be Kavya Samasya Purana, it may be Kriya Kalpa, it may be Bimlechita Vikalpa, or it may be Manasi, it may be Sampatya, it may be Dharana Matrika. Don't be scared by these names being dropped. As I have a small time, little time available with me, I'm just giving a pointer towards that. Vatsyayana's Kama Sutras again go back to several centuries. Perhaps before the age of Guptas, the sutras of Vatsyayana were all composed. And Kalidasa, pinnacle of Gupta period, was well aware of Kama Sutra, and he had made an in-depth study of Kama Sutra. That is how we can infer through his texts. Even in the treatise of Bharata, the renowned Natya Shastra, we have many features that are connected with Kama Sutra. Bahyopachara, Samanya Abhinaya, Chitra Abhinaya, and then Aharya Abhinaya. These are some of the chapters. They directly deal with the features of Kama Sutra as far as the Nagarika Vrittanta and Shastry Kalas are concerned. And then another feature is also present. That is the Panditya Veera or Vidya Veera, I can say. Heroism can be of many types. Usually we think heroes means the war veterans, those who wage war, those who can wield their swords, and those who can shoot their arrows. They are heroes of those days. But another forms of heroes are also seen in our history, literary history. They are scholars, they are scholarly poets who can take up any challenge at any time and spontaneously come out with verses, like shooting arrows one after the other. As we know in the epic of Vyasa, the Mahabharata, where so many people will be opposing Arjuna, but he single-handedly shoots his arrows and win them all. Likewise, a poet, a scholar, will be entering into the court of a king and will be answering all the questions of the scholars and poets present there with his witty answers, with his witty verses, with his bombastic compositions. And that is how Vidya Veera or Panditya Veera is being exhibited, and that became one of the sources of Avadhana, one of the components of Avadhana. Because Avadhanam is a performing art. And unlike other arts, where prior practice is essential and is possible, in Avadhanam no such thing. It's not at all a rehearsed program. It's not at all a stage manner, stage conducted program. It will be spontaneous in nature. The person who performs is Avadhani. Man Avadhani, woman Avadhanini. Avadhanam asmin iti Avadhani. Avadhanam asyam iti Avadhanini. Like that. In ancient India, we had many poetesses who were great scholars. India is one of the rare countries which never made gender disparity in several walks of life. And one such thing is education and learning. Even before 1000 years, Rajashekara, a great poet, scholar and a polyglot, he says, Striyopi kavi bhaveyu. Even women are capable of becoming very good poets. And eulogizes so many poetesses. And his wife, Avanti Sundari, was a great scholar. And he records her opinion in his treatise on aesthetics and supports that, acknowledges that, and even accepts that. Eva Avanti Sundari, Omiti Yaya Variyaha, like that. And yesterday, while beginning my talk, I recited in the beginning itself, the first verse I recited was penned by Ganga Devi, a great poetess comparable to the lucid diction of Kalidasa. She has penned an epic based on the heroic adventures of her husband, Kampanaraya, and that work is called Mathura Vijayam or Veera Kampanaraya Charitam. Ganga Devi's hymn on Saraswati was recited by me. Chaitanya Jhalati Jyotsnam Devim Vande Saraswatim. Like that, that verse is very beautiful, full of imagery. Well, coming back to the theme, many women were great Avadhaninis. A 17th century poetess by name Madhuravani was a great Shatavadhanini. People who answer 8 questions at a time, 8 scholars at a time, and manage the show are Ashtavadhanis. Those who answer 100 questions at a time, one after the other, without losing track, they are called Shatavadhanis or Shatavadhaninis. These are the only 2 forms that were prevalent earlier, and later nowadays in Andhra Pradesh they have developed a Sahasravadhanam also. One of the most famous Sahasravadhani is Garikipati Narasimharao, Dr. Garikipati Narasimharao of Andhra Pradesh, hailing from Kakinada and now staying in Hyderabad, is a wonderful Avadhani. I'm happy to say that I know him well. Well, coming back to Madhuravani of 17th century, who was in the court of Raghunatha Nayaka, used to play Veena. While playing Veena along with the music itself, she was composing 100 verses in 6 different languages. Tatta Ghatikardha Nirmita Shatashloki Panigramani, she says. In 12 minutes, she could compose, not just recite, compose 100 Sanskrit verses. It means what enormous speed was in her versification. And her co-wife, Ramabhadraamba, was also a Shatavadhanini. And next generation poets, Rangajamma and Muthupadmi, they were also Avadhaninis. Like that we see many such instances in history. Not to speak of men who are also great Avadhanis. And this was seen, of course, in Sanskrit, Telugu, Kannada, Tamil, and even in Bengali. Few people have attempted in Hindi and in Gujarati, Prakrita, like that, in different forms. But the best form of Sahitya Avadhana is preserved in 3 languages, Sanskrit, Kannada and Telugu. In Telugu, very many number of Avadhanis have emerged because in Andhra Pradesh, since the period of Vijayanagar, lot of encouragement and patronizing happened with the scholars and poets. Because of the adversities, political adversities, because of the upheavals in the Indian political arena, many could not be patronized in other regions, but in Andhra Pradesh it so happened. And Andhra Telugu language, since ages, it has preserved its tradition of rich influence of Sanskrit. Of course, every Indian language has the influence, the positive influence of Sanskrit. Even a South Indian language like Malayalam has a lot of Sanskrit, and Kannada like that. Even in Tamil we see a lot of influence of Sanskrit, but for reasons which are not literary, just for political reasons, so many things have been distorted. I don't want to discuss them, as my focus is only on Avadhanam, and I should not lose my focus, that is Avadhanam. And then I come back to the topic. Like that, we have one Vidyavira, another Kama Sutras, Chatushashtikala, 64 arts, and the third one, the Veda Avadhana scheme, all joined together, and then the art of Avadhana was developed. We don't know who did this format and how it was arrived at, but we see from the literary evidences many people performing Avadhanam having different components. For example, if one person is very well versed in music, he will add few components connected with music. If a person is a very good mathematician who can solve mentally many problems, mathematical puzzles, then he will add few elements of mathematics. But the main thing is, of course, Sahityam, poetry, because in mathematics we cannot present imaginary solutions. They have to have a logic. But in poetry it is not so. 2 plus 2 should always be 4. But it is not the case in poetry. The same topic can be described in so many other ways. The spot on the moon's orb can be described in n number of ways. But a plus b whole square cannot be presented in n number of ways. A plus b whole square is a square plus b square plus 2ab, that's all. Hence, the dry Shastric elements, they cannot entertain, as they will not become creative. Science is linear in nature, but art is non-linear, especially poetry. Now coming back to the art of Avadhanam, I shall describe a few features of that and then demonstrate 1 or 2 items. The history is very long. I don't want to go further in that. But practical examples will show a lot of light, will make you admire the art better. As I told, the performer is called Avadhani or Avadhanini, and the people who question, they are called Prachakas or questioners. And there will be no match fixing. It is not at all a stage mannered and stage conducted, rehearsed program. They come. You will not be knowing who will be asking this, which question, unless it is printed on an invitation and earlier it's circulated. They sit around the Avadhani. Usually, Ashtavadhanam is the most popular form of Avadhanam, for it will conclude by 3 hours. It will take not more than 3 or 3.5 hours. I have performed Avadhanams which were concluded at the short time span of 30 or 45 minutes, but nobody can understand. Only the scholars can follow it. It will be going in a lightning speed, but that is not a comfortable thing. So comfortably, in a relaxed manner, to explain the things to people and also take their questions and all these things, that would take a lot of time. And a leisurely way and an entertaining manner of presenting Avadhanam would take not less than 3 hours. Then no writing material will be provided to Avadhani. Everything has to go orally. The questioners, one after another, they question. Of them, 1 or 2 people will be meant only to distract the attention of the Avadhani. That is the beauty. In all other art forms, no person will be there to distract the artist. In a music ensemble or in a dance recital, nothing of that sort will happen. But in Avadhanam it will happen. One person called Aprastuta Prasangi. Prastuta means irrelevant. Aprastuta means irrelevant. Prasanga means situations. One person will bring now and then, again and again, aprastuta things, irrelevant things, But to entertain the gathering, entertain the people there, he will draw the Avadhani to such conversations, to light-hearted conversations. He may also draw the attention of Avadhani to serious interactions also. But mainly entertaining. It will go on like that. Once in my Avadhanam, one question was asked by Pasangi. What's the difference between marriage and garage? One is for pairing and other is for repairing it. Like that, so many such things. How to manage the problem of files and piles? One by operation, other by cooperation. These are all such PJs, as we call, poor jokes, will also be there. Sometimes very serious question will also creep in. Anyway, the gathering has to be entertained. It's how it should go. And then another person will also be there. He may ring a bell at times. Here and then, now and then, he will be ringing bells. And at the end of the program, it may take 2.5 or 3 hours. How many times has rung the bell? 33 times or 45 times. Like that, I have to have the count in my mind and tell that. And sometimes a flower will be thrown from the back. How many times the flower was thrown? It should be thrown so that the Avadhani should feel the touch of it. It means a marigold should be thrown. Not a parijatam or not a jasmine. And that's why, because of the difficulty, ringing the bell is kept. I usually keep even more difficult thing, that is a magical square, magic square. A number will be given, something like 365. And 5 by 5 matrix will be written, so that 25 pigeonholes will be there. Here and then, now and then, the person will be asking, what would be the proper number in the second row, third column, in the fourth row, first column, like that. Randomly, you will be asking at the end of the performance, what is the number? That number will be arrived when these numbers are added vertically or horizontally or even from the diagonal. That is how it will be mentally solved. These two are meant for distraction and also for mental engagement. Sometimes a verse has to be composed. 32 pigeonholes are written and a topic is given. They have to give me a poem that will be describing the cloudy sky. 31st letter, what is it? Third letter, what is that? And 16th letter, what is like that? All the program, when it is going on, till the end you will be questioning randomly. At the end, all these letters, when they are reached from 1 to 32, it will become a poem. Like that. And then we have 6 more in Shatavadhani, Nishedhakshara, where the questionnaire will be checked. Avadhani at every instance, well, I think it's correct. He wants the Avadhani to compose a poem in praise of goddess of Saraswati, as it is a very auspicious occasion, Vijayadashmi. First letter should not be Sa. Without using the first Sa as first letter, I should say, let me say Sha. Immediately we'll think Sharada may be the word, and the next letter should not be Ra. Repa should not be used. Then I will say Shanta. Then some other, like that it will go on. So the 4 lines have to be completed and a verse is arrived at. Then Samasya Purana. A cryptic line will be given, a redundant line will be given. Sometimes even the line which will carry a meaning which will not be decent. And such a line should be used as part of a verse, and a verse should be completed so that the bad meaning or the meaninglessness, the redundancy of that particular line has to be warded off. It should become a new poem in a new context. That is Samasya Purana. Then we have Dattapada or Dattapadi. verse will be given. A meter is also given. By the way, in these Sahitya Avadhanams, it is not based on free verse or verse libre. Essentially based on classical meters, classical imagery and grammatical rules as they should be stringently followed. Strictly rule-minded verses have to be composed there. It should be flawless, blemishless. A specific meter will also be given and a topic will be given. Based on the topic, using those 4 words, a poem has to be composed. But it is not that easy, as many times the words given may not suit the context. Sometimes the words may be belong to different languages as well. But they have to be brought into the purview of the language which the poet is using, Avadhani is using. And then one more component is called Chitrabandha. This element I myself introduced. It's the toughest one in Avadhanam. Figurative poetry, very challenging poetry. Yesterday I recited one verse having 2 syllables, ka and la. These are the 2 syllables which are used to compose the whole verse. Kalikale, kalalila, kalakilala, kelika, kalkakaka, kukilaika, kakali, kokila, kula. It has meaning. Kalikale, in this iron age, in this age of Kali, kalalila, engaging ourselves with the arts, pursuit of arts, kala kila kelika, is like swimming in the ocean of hemlock, ocean of hala, ocean of poison. Kalkakaka kukilaika, in the bad company of crows which have a bad voice. Kakali, kokila, akula, a cuckoo with a sweet voice will always be disturbed, will always be suffering, and this is the fate of pursuit in fine arts in this bad age of Kali. Like that, the meaning. The meaning may not be profound, but a meaningful verse has to be composed. This particular verse is in the meter Anushtup Shloka. Kalikala kala lila kala kilala kelika kalkaka kukilaika kakali kokila kula shuklam paradharam vishnum shashivarnam chaturbhujam prasanna badanam dhyaye sarva vignopashantaye. You can see how the meter is connected. And this is having several dimensions. This I told about the play of syllables. Sometimes in the reverse direction also it can be written palindrome, left to right or right to left, or in the zigzag pattern, or in the pattern of a flower, something like that. Sometimes the whole verse has to be has to yield several meanings, 2, 3, like that. These are all several challenges. That is Chitra Kavita. And then the 4th component is Ashu Kavita. Fortunately here no restrictions will be given, but a complete verse has to be recited. In the earlier 4, Nishedakshara, Samasya, Dattapada and Chitra Kavita, 1 line per round it will go on. Incidentally, an Avadhanam will go on in 4 rounds. Each task will be completed partially. That's why the retention is very important. Retentiveness is at most important. First line will be composed in first round, second line in the second round, and so on. And finally, we have the complete verse in the 4th round, and the Avadhani has to recite all the 4 lines, give out the meaning, and if someone comes out with any objection, he has to defend his verse. All these are part and parcel of the game. Then, the Ashu Kavita, in every line, every round, 1 complete verse has to be given. The speed of composition and the imaginative power of the Avadhani, they are very important. And the 6th component is called Kavyavachana. All these 5 components, they focused more on the creative ability of the performer, how best he can compose beautiful verses with all these restrictions, and know how best he can appreciate others' poems. Because many artists, they are good at presenting their art, but bad in appreciating others. It's obvious. It's of course very pathetic too. Not all creative people are generous. The magnanimity of mind, magnanimity of heart is also very important. In this component Kavya Vachana, beautiful verses from great poets like Kalidasa, Bhasa, Bhavbhuti, Bhartrahari, Ganga Devi, and so many are recited. And from which poem this particular verse has been culled out, in which context that has to be identified and given out. In our examinations, we always find a reference to context. Some questions have to be answered. Here is that. Publicly, he has to accept his ignorance if he is unable to. To that extent, the performer is failing. In my Avadhanams, apart from answering and identifying the proper source and the context, I will be giving out the answer also in the versified form, in the same meter as that of that verse, as that of the verse that was recited. So these 6 tasks, when they are being accomplished, the 2 distractions, Aprastuta Pasangi and then the Ghanta Vadaka, the rings of the bell, are Sankhya Bandhaka, who will be questioning the numbers of the pigeonholes. These will also be answered. This is how an Ashtavadhanam goes on. And if it is multiplied by 10 or 12 times, it will become Shatavadhanam. Well, I have been left with few minutes. I shall give out some examples. Though I perform in Kannada mainly and Sanskrit, and I have performed in Telugu and even in Prakrit, here for this deliberation, I have restricted myself to the verses in Sanskrit. Now, Samasya. This is a renowned Samasya found in Bhoja Prabandha. Gulu, gulu, gulu. It is not Sanskrit. It's gibberish. Some sound. Gulu, gulu, gulu. When Bhojaraja, he recited this line in his court, Kalidasa, it seems, it's a story, of course, it's not a real thing. A story. Both were belong to different times. For the sake of fiction, they were brought together. Jambu phalani pakwani patanti vimale jale kapikampita shakhabhyo gulu gulu. Ripe fruits of jambu fall from the branches of a tree shook by a monkey. There fall these fruits, they fall into the waters. Next to the tree was a lake, of course. It made the sound gulu gulu. Means the sound was given a context. What a beautiful, naturally acceptable reason has been given. A tree and full of ripe jambu fruits, and a monkey. We all know the mischief of monkey. It's shaking the branches and the small flowers, berries are falling one after the other, making the sound gulu into the pond. Once in my Avadhanam, in my Shatavadhanam, a Samasya was given. Dakshina dishi bhanuman udeti nanu. I shall repeat. Dakshina dishi bhanuman udeti nanu. Sun is rising from the south. Rising in the south. How it will happen? There may be many solutions. You can also creatively bring out your solutions later. My solution then was Drishtva Shadanga Bandhura Chitram Samavarti Dingmaha Bhittau Budagali Tadrasiko Dakshina Dishi Bhanuman Udeti Nanu. A beautiful painting was hanging, looking at a beautiful painting of sunrise displayed on the southern wall of a gallery. An avid art connoisseur exclaimed, "Sun is rising in the south." Here it is not the real sunrise, it is a painting. But in the line, whether it is real or virtual or unreal, nothing was mentioned. So, we have an out-of-box thinking. This is one of the most important features which we rely upon in solving such problems. Out-of-box thinking. Here we have two things, multitasking and out-of-box thinking. And this is typical example of out-of-box thinking. And then in my first Shatavadhanam, one samasya was given, Padarahita pada pastu dhavanti. Legless trees sprint around. you may all appreciate this solution what I gave then. Magban namni khyate manohare rupake nu charamanke varnam kanana samstha padarhita pada pastu dhavanti. In Macbeth, one of the best foreplays of Shakespeare, in the last act, in the fifth act, Burnham forest will be moving. In the last act of Macbeth, the wonderful play, in the form of Burnham forest, legless trees sprint around. It was given as a prophecy by the three witches that Macbeth will die when Burnham forest moves. And that was made a reality by Malcolm, a prince, son of Duncan. In the leadership of Malcolm, all the soldiers, they make the branches of trees as heights and start moving. And from the castles he sees, oh, the forest itself is moving and my time has come. That's how he thinks. Then we have Tattapada, again in my Shatavadhani, Mullah, Padre, Khaji, Pope. All are religious priests belonging to Christianity and Islam. These four names are given, they are not Sanskrit. Vishwamitra's happiness when Rama strung and broke the Shivadhanus. That was the topic. I have to describe that. Where is Ramayana? Where is Rama? Where is his mentor, the sage Vishwamitra? And where are these four words? And in a meter called Sragbini. Shri Samullasinam Lola Churnalakam Jataru Padribhrit Chapa Vichedanam Janaki Bhagyareka Jigesha Mukam Vikshapo Pluyamano Savah Kaushikaha. Shri Samullasinam, it is not Mulla, Samullasinam. Samullasa means enjoyable. When cheerful Rama of charming locks broke Shiva's bow and won Sita as fortune, Vishwamitra's joy knew no bounds. Jata Rupadri, it is not Padri, it is Jata Rupa. Jata Rupa means silver, gold. Jata Rupadri, golden mountain. Shiva's bow was made of the golden mountain according to mythology. Janaki Bhagya Rekha Jigisha, not Khaji. Bhagya Rekha Jigisha. He almost conquered the fortune of Sita. He won the fortune of Sita. That is the meaning, Khaji. And Viksha Popluyamana. Popluyamana means floating in joy. Popluyamana, Pope, the word has come. So, using typical Sanskrit words, essentially Sanskrit words, this has been managed. And then Rama's valor while slaying Ravana. That has to be described by using four names of demons. Those were killed by Krishna. Krishna belonged to another age itself, but Rama belonged to some other age. How come these demons appear in Ramayana? No way it is possible. Putana, Pralamba, Kamsa, Keshi. These were the names given. Yatrajau Kataputana Pravikatam Raktam Papu Varpshasam Vetalascha Babu Rashu Pishita Svada Pralambadaraha Dushta Kamsa Dushpakam Sabalam Jagana Jagatam Vidravanam Ravanam Ramastatra Gunabhirama Rasiko Loke Shiva Khyapaka. Here Putana has been used Kataputana. Kataputana means headless bodies. And then Pralambadaraha. Pralamba is demon. Pralamba Adara means having respect, having interest which has no bound. And then Dushpakam, bad. Sabalam means powerful. Bad and powerful. Ravana was bad and powerful. Dushpakam Sabalam. Dushpakamsa, that word is split and shared. The meaning is Rama vanquished the invincible Ravana, the bear of the three worlds, in a fierce battle where headless bodies danced and lopped off heads drank the blood of demons. And the wicked demon was killed and Rama brought solace to the three worlds. Then Shurpanaka approaching Rama for a lovemaking and Rama decently avoiding. This situation has to be explained, this situation has to be brought out in a verse while using the four words hello, hi, honey, sweet. How it is possible? Vinodartham sartham muni nivaha lolo raghuvaraha muni nivaha lolo muni nivaha, group of sages. Lola means engaged in the group of sages. There halo comes sprahayam, in desire. Sprahayam, high, has come. Ragandham vikata vanitam dandaka vane. Maha tejasvi. Rama is brilliant. Eat pratyay samuchitaha. He is having so much of self-confidence. Maha tejasvi. The word sweet has appeared here, sweetly. Eat pratyay samuchitaschayka vanitaha. Devoted to a single wife. Vishalakshi ityevam vadati mahaniya. Hani mahaniya. He is mahaniya. He is noble. The noble Rama is known for his valor as well as unalloyed commitment to Sita. He is endeared by sages who dwell in Dandaka forest. When Laulad and Shurpanaka approached him, the unfortunate Rama wanted to avoid her in a jovial manner and started addressing him as Vishalakshi, a beautiful woman with wide open eyes. And Chitra Kavyam, their very unique features are manifolded. One is called Gomutrika, zigzag pattern. I shall write it and show. Atmopagnya kala preksha jivano bhuvishudrakaha asha padya kavi preshto jiyanno vagvimudraka. This verse is in praise of Shudraka. Hail to Shudraka, the master poet. He lives forever through his art, which is a product of original genius. This poesy that he is replete with the Vedic spirit makes us all mute spectators. This is the meaning. I shall read it and show. Like that. And also one more in the form of a flower, lotus, in praise of Krishna. Nataspota namatsova nanda yapriya navajivana dagrada nayageya narastara. O Krishna, the son of Nanda, you dance merrily. Even Shiva bows before you. You love the act of quality. Morality hails you. The benchmark of mankind is morality. You are like a water-bearing cloud that roars happily. That is the meaning. I shall write it and show.
The light is shining on the board. We can't see.
I shall write it in Devanagari.
Thank you.
Just see. Atmopagnya kala show Arsha Padya Kavi Shreshto. First and third lines I have written. Similarly, second and fourth lines will also go. I can read like this. Arsha Padya Padya and also Gnya Ka, like that. Every second of this line is same, and that's why this has been achieved. This is all mentally composed without looking at the paper or trial and error.
How much I miss.
This is a Padma Bandha. I shall write it. I have written the verse, I shall read it. Nata spota namat soma nanda na ya priya nava jivana da hrata naya geya nara stara. This is all. Now, pure poetry in the form of Ashu Kavita, I told, such verses are also very many in the Avadhanams. Once I was asked to compose a poem on Shakespeare. Astanjagama ravirangla janarjiteshu desheshu tad bala parakramavat kravena astam prayatina kadachana Shakespeare te kirtindu kamtiramala bhuvanatrayepi. You know, in the school days of pre-independent India, there's a proverbial statement that the sun never sets in British Empire. The sun eventually did set on the British Empire following its depleting fortune. But O Shakespeare, the moon of your fame shall always glow resplendent. Even today, India is not under the control of British, but it is still under the control of Shakespeare. The magic of Shakespeare's poetry is even today endearing Indians. And then the Himalayas. Avashyaya patachannam purareh pashya parvatam mahakavi manolagna vyakta kavya manolagna vyakta kavyokti sannibham. Himalayas has to be described. Look at the snow-clad peaks of Himalaya, the abode of Shiva. It resembles the words in the minds of great poets which are distinct and yet indistinct. In the mind of poet, the words will not be distinct, and they will not even be indistinct. They are vyakta. Snow-clad peaks are like that. They are not completely unveiled. At the same time, they are not completely concealed. In that way, the mighty Himalayas appear. And also, once I was asked, how you feel the nature of profuse poetry? Bhanitam mahakavina manye pushpaka vimanamiti jagati yatranantavakasha kashati nanarthani prapanchartham. Profound poetry is akin to the mythical Pushpaka Vimana. In Indian mythology we have Pushpaka Vimana, It's a peculiar aircraft where any number of people can enter, but one seat will be vacant. Likewise, it has infinite space to accommodate the world of suggestion. So many meanings can be extracted. We all know if Shakespeare, even before a century it was told as a proverbial statement, if Shakespeare tries to write an examination based on his own work, he will not pass. Because for the simple reason he hasn't read A.C. Bradley. Like that, so many layers of meaning are extracted from the same poem. So the poem of a great poet is like a Pushpak Vimanam. So many meanings like passengers can sit, and yet there will be accommodation for one more. This is how I composed. These are few examples. There are literally thousands of verses because I have performed more than 1200 Avadhanams. Of them 5 Shatavadhanams and so many Ashtavadhanams, Dashavadhanams, Dwadashavadhanams and many more. So virtually thousands of verses are composed. I've just presented few droplets from there. And now briefly I shall demonstrate how it will look like, how spontaneous versification will look like. I request my young friend Shashikiran, who is an adept Sanskrit poet and scholar. He passed the engineering with brilliant marks, and he is a rank student throughout his career. And he on his own accord is studying Sanskrit and pursuing its aesthetics seriously. And along with me, he has composed many Sanskrit works, and independently also he is writing. He writes very well in Sanskrit, English and Kannada. And I request him, because he too has participated many times as a Christian in my Avadhanams. I request him to give a samasya or a show how Nishedhakshara will go on one line, just for an example.
Could you please connect the other mic as well?
Okay, so to begin with, we shall demonstrate the component called Nishedhakshari. As he explained before, every syllable is constrained, is checked in a way. So if one can give any topic, I shall give which comes to me.
You should not feel that it is a match fix. That's why anyone among you give the topic.
Excellent. So the topic is Brexit.
First line will compose.
Okay, I shall ask him to compose in the meter Anushtup, which has 8 syllables per line and 32 totally. So the first syllable I shall restrict is ba.
Ma.
He has said ma, and I shall say he can connect it with anything. I shall negate the letter ra.
Tu. Ma tu.
So ma tuhu, belonging to the mother. And what belongs to the mother? The entire universe perhaps. And I shall negate the syllable sa.
Ka.
Ma tuh ka. Ka can go on in any way, but karya, karma, the activity of the mother perhaps, so I shall restrict the word letter ra.
Ya. Ma tu kayat.
So it has now become Matuh Kayat. Kaya means the body from the body of the mother. Matuh Kayat, I do not know how it is going to proceed. Matuh Kayat Pa.
Da. Matu kayada.
Matuh Kayada. Matuh Kayada. No restricted.
Pa.
Matuh Kayada Pa. Matuh Kayat Apa. Apa Dirgha.
Apa.
Ya restricted. Apayat from obstacles, from impediments.
Ga.
Matuh kaya dapayaga. Agas means a disease or some bereavement in Sanskrit, so I shall restrict the letter sa.
Matu kaya dapa apa gatya.
Matuh kaya dapagatya. So apagati is
Going away.
going back, retreating. Matuh kaya dapagatya. So the word is complete and there is no pointing in negating. I shall not negate.
This is first line.
So it
Whether
goes
one
on.
should go away from the motherland, that is the Europe continent, or not, there is the question. And it will continue. If I had time, I would have completed the whole verse.
So it goes on in this manner, and so that is a sample of Nishedhakshari. Now we shall proceed to another vibhaga called Samasya Purna. It is a literary challenge given. It might be a puzzle or anything. I shall just give one. I'm composing it here, so nobody, please do not think that I've come prepared with it. Atapash-shaitya sechakah. Atapash-shaitya sechakah. The sun rays or heat produces or spreads coldness. How does the light of the sun, which is usually scorching, how does it spread coldness? Sunlight spreads coldness.
Sharatkale samayate, Sharatkale samayate, Sharatkale samayate, Kairavananda nirbhare, Sharatkale samayate, Kairavananda nirbhare, Kairavananda nirbhare, Sharatkale samayate, Kairavananda nirbhare, Kairavananda nirbhare, Kantanam, 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 Tushtaye Chandra Tapa.
So this is a variety of literary challenge which is solved by adding some letters before. So Atapa means the sun rays in Sanskrit. He has included the letters Chandra before it. He has prefixed it with it. So Chandra Tapa means moonlight in Sanskrit. If you go to any standard Sanskrit dictionary and look up the word Chandra Tapa, it means moonlight. So Chandra Tapa, and he shall explain this.
In the season of autumn, in the autumn season, where everywhere we see pleasant sky and moon will be brightly visible and the nights are starlit, and even in the ponds we have beautiful lilies which are blossomed because of the radiant rays of moon, and all the men and women will be merrily moving around. Then Chandra Tapaha, the moonlight will be cool to feel.
So that is a sample of these components. Now for the vibhaga of Ashu Kavita, that is extempore versification, I shall not ask him any topics. I invite the audience to give out topics so you can feel the participation. I shall come down with the mic. Anybody with a topic, please keep it poetic, don't make it political because it does not yield itself to
Newspaper headlines
poetry.
should not be inspiring.
Do not give headlines. So any poetic topic is welcome. So
Nature,
anybody.
culture, arts.
Yes,
Soon,
anyone.
because
Lydia?
If nobody volunteers, I shall do it myself.
Nandamama.
please.
No,
Yes.
Nandamama.
Anyone.
No, you should not delay so much. I will not be telling so much in versification. Quick.
Can we say
In
lotus?
Pudi, Nanda, leave pudi.
What do you want?
Lotus.
Lotus.
What? Lotus. Okay. Lotus.
So the beauty of Dr. Ganesh's versification
Lakshmi vasati tavantah, Lakshmi vasati tavantah, Lakshmi vasati tavantah, Swami vasada, Kavivraja stanute, Twame vasada, Kavivraja stanute, Upamayamapi, Upamayamapi, Hanta, Upamayamapi Hanta, upamaayamapi hanta upamaayamapi hanta upamaayamapi hanta upamaayamapi hanta prakityate 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 manmati prakityate manmatistu prakityate manmatistu prakityate manmatistu prakityate manmatistu chandra prakityate manmatistu chandra sparshat. O lotus, Lakshmi, the goddess of wealth, resides in you, and all poets take you as the handy imagery to compare the face, the eye, and whatnot. But my mind is lamenting because it has the touch of moon. We all know mind is associated with moon, and that's why lunatic people who are mentally disturbed will have disturbances at high frequencies during the full moon days. My mind is naturally connected with moon, and moon's rays, according to Sanskrit poetic convention, it will make lotus close. So lotus, you may be so beautiful, you may be endeared by poets, even the goddess of wealth may take you as her permanent residence. But what to do? When I think about you, because my mind is associated with moon, your face has to squeeze. Alas, what a contrast.
Anyone else?
There's somebody here.
Anyone? Yeah, just speak it loud.
Swan.
Swan. That's the topic. Swan.
So many beautiful verses are composed by Sanskrit poets, hundreds and hundreds of poems on swan. That's why I should bring out something novel I should do. Avannadya pravahe tvam avannadya pravahe tvam darsham yatha vidhi darsham yatha vidhi shishirepyaskhalantam tam smarami kavitallajam smarami kavitallajam. We all know Shakespeare is termed as sweet swan in the river Avon. O swan, you may be floating happily in the river Avon, but when winter approaches, you have to fly away. But there is another swan, that Shakespeare. Kavi means poet. In Sanskrit, kavi also means a water bird. Kam jalam tatra viharati iti kavihi. So that Shakespeare, even in winter he stays, because he is always staying on scattered upon Avon. That's how, oh swan, you may boast so much, but this swan is there. He is permanently lodged on the bank of the island. I shall restore time, reserve this time, 10 minutes or so, for question and answers. I welcome your questions, if any.
Yeah, we can extend a little. Ask them.
Please.
Question.
How do you prepare? It's a huge mental exercise.
Life is preparation. That's why once a great Sanskrit scholar and a logician, Avadhanam Puranik of Bangalore, he said, there is no purva siddhata, pre-preparation for Avadhanam. That's how I started my performance. Then he said, no, apurva siddhata. No purva siddhata, no prior preparation. That is one meaning. Apurva siddhata means extraordinary preparation. When once a performer is a poet who can versify without paper and pen on the spot, that becomes the basic qualification. And he or she should constantly engage his audience with entertaining chants and analogies, comparisons, and keep them in good humor. These are all extra qualifications like that. Constantly reading. Anyway, myself and Shashi, we are writing a voluminous book on the science and art of Avadhana in Sanskrit. and it is almost complete. It has to see the press and emerge out. Perhaps within a couple of months, it will be available in the market. There, I have devoted one long chapter. Before coming here, I completed that chapter along with Shashi. Avadhani and his art of Avadhanam. How and what are the methods and what are the preparations that he needs. It's a separate thing. It needs a lot. But the passion makes us forget all that effort, all the difficulty.
Yeah, some other question?
Please.
Sir, you talked about Avadhaninis, and that was very pleasant. You also talked about female poets. I wonder if there's any move to include their works in the curriculum at universities when we study Sanskrit, or even at school, because it's so rare. It's so rare to hear about them.
But fortunately, in India, in so many universities, the poems of these great poetesses are studied. I myself have taught. Before 5 years, when I had gone to United States of America to teach Sanskrit, first I took the epic Mathura Vijayam of Ganga Devi, and I have recently published a Sanskrit play by name Vanita Kavitotsavaha. It's an imaginary plot where goddess of Saraswati will be arranging a poetry ensemble of poetesses. All Sanskrit poetesses will join together and they start reciting their beautiful poems, and they will be having the beautiful exchange of wits and wise words amidst themselves, and that has become a very beautiful play. Many critics too have appreciated it. Long ago it was published in the Journal of Sahitya Academy also, before 20 years or so. That means Sanskrit poems of poetesses have been taken up seriously, and since several decades they have been studied. In my work also I have included the achievements of these Avadhaninis, and I have enlisted their names and achievements.
Okay, the lady wanted to know how do you retain the work? Probably I can.
The power of retention.
No medicine, no yoga, no pranayama, nothing. Memory is not an exclusive faculty. In our work, in the work of me and Shashi, we have devoted a separate chapter called Memory, and there we have discussed in detail about these things. No mental exercises of that sort, no medicine, no blessings of miraculous persons, nothing needed. We have the meter, the chandas, that itself is a great aspect of retention. And also constant study of kavyas. And how we compose, it's something like we remember our verses. Mother can always connect easily to her children. So it happens. The diction, the rhythm pattern, the imagery, the meter, the sounds, the sonoric effect, all these things, they make us remember. And even the face of the person who questions, such things are there. Only thing, basic health is very essential. Basic health, physical health and mental health, good sleep and calmness of mind. These are the basic things which are needed to be healthy, to live happily. To any human being, these are needed. That's all needed for Avadhani also.
I think my question was just answered right now, sir. Thank you.
Please.
Yes.
Yes, please.
So when you do Avadhanam, Ashtavadhanam or Shatavadhanam, are there, I mean in today's India or Indian context, are there enough scholars in Sanskrit who can challenge you and sort of understand what you're saying?
Yes,
Like,
fortunately there are. When I started this art in Canada, when I started reviving this, because it was a broken tradition, long ago it was forgotten. We have references to only one scholar who performed for 3 years this art during 1933, during 1930 to 33. For 3 years he performed. Apart from that, I had no other evidence, no other person having performed in the records, on the records. Then I had to explain how it is. There were scholars, but they were not aware of the art and its nuances. And when I wanted to perform Shatavadhanam, recently, for my 5th Shatavadhanam, which I had to present completely in Kannada, young friends came to me. Then I told, you try to compose the classical verses. Then only I will perform. You must ask me questions. And they, for a few years, they learned and they started versifying and they become the questioners, and that's so. There are many people, fortunately, but not all scholars can ask because it needs a lot of rasikata, taste. Scholarship is something else and taste is something else. And hence, a scholar should have taste. And scholars should know the limitations, the challenges, and the constraints of this particular art. If not, it will go astray. It will not entertain the people. It will become a jugglery and tug of war of words between Avadhani and the questioner. It should also entertain and enrich the joy of people. For that, it needs certain understanding, not training, understanding and sensitivity. That's all.
Sir, I have a question. You referred in the earlier part of your talk about how Vedic verses were kept alive through oral tradition, and that involved memorization in different ways.
Yes.
How does that compare with the skill in Avadhana?
Because retention,
yeah.
The concept of retention came from that. In one particular pattern, in one particular sound pattern, it will be remembered. Here comes Udatta, here comes Anudatta, like that. That element of dharana, memory, has triggered the art of Avadhana. That's all. I think time is up. Thank you. Thanks a lot.
श्रुतिस्मृतिपुराणानाम् आलयं करुणालयं नमामि भगवत्पादं शङ्करं लोकशङ्करं नमस्तस्मै भगवते शङ्कराचार्यरूपिणे येन वेदान्तविद्येयम् उद्धृता वेदसागरात्. Shubha Sayam. Good evening, everybody. I don't know how to thank such a genius amongst us. We're really fortunate to have, being in this part of the world, to have such wonderful, literally geniuses to come and literally show us how amazing the art of Avadhana and our scriptures and all our literatures are. We began this journey on Friday with the Natya Shastra, where Shatavadhani, Dr. Ganesh ji, gave us the glimpse of Natya Shastra for art and dance and all that represents through the bhava and rasa as well. And Dr. Ma really talked about it in extent, some of you who came to that. And then yesterday, he gave us an overview of three of our probably the most famous poets, Valmiki, Vedavyasa and Kalidasa, and gave us an overview of some of the compositions of such great poets. And today, we've seen the real amazing, the cerebral power of humans and what could be done if we really try for this, with mental power, with creative power, and as well as memory power as well. So from all of us, I say thank you so much to Ganesh ji for coming here and really enlightening us. And as yesterday Subhanuji said, Bhavan is conducting so many different events like this. Please come and join. Nanda Uncle is doing the Sanskrit Sambhashana Shibira, the conversation, and also Vedic chanting and Upanishads and everything else. So please do come. And I really want to thank Nandamaya, the Bhavan, Parvati Akka, Bihari Uncle, and also the light and sound technician. And finally to also Shashi and Dr. Ganesh ji for coming over and really enlightening us with great knowledge. And now I'll give it to Nanda Uncle for a few things. But also, if you could also make sure to eat, there's dinner in the Hathi Hall. Please come and eat as well. Thank you.
Just finally, folks, we have had the good fortune of spending these 4 or 5 days with one of the greatest scholars, wonderful human beings, in the form of Shatavadhani, Dr. Ganesh ji, and of course his friends, and Shashikant ji and Girish ji, who have come here to be part of this Shastri Memorial Lecture, and also be part of a seminar that took place at the Nehru Center. They will be leaving for India. They will be leaving for India by tomorrow morning, and I feel that we have just, myself and our Shanti, we used to write letters. These are the things you need to bring. These are the things we need to have from you. But now already they are leaving tomorrow morning, and it's going to be very difficult for us. But I would like to quote one shloka: Maya hi tyapamangalam vajakila snehena shunyam vacha tishteti prabhuta yatha ruchi kurushva apyesha tudasinata no jivami vinatvayeti vachanam sambhavyate vanava tanmam shikshaya nata yat samuchitam vaktum tvai prasthite. He's about to leave tomorrow. They are all about to leave. Maya hi tyapamangalam. Please don't go back to India. Stay here for some more time. Then it will be construed as amangala, as I am about to leave. You are saying amang. This is a verse spoken about Krishna as he was about to leave by the Pandavas. They don't want, because they wanted Krishna to be there all the time. But he has to go. See, Maya hi apamangalam. Vrajakila, all right, go. Snehena shunyam. It will be construed as there is no real friendship, that means. Tishteti prabhuda. To say that, no, you can't go. Then you are ruling. Yatha ruchi kurushva apyudasina. Do as you please. Whatever you want to do, do. Then there is a kind of indifference. No jivami vinatvayetu vachanam sambhavyate. Without you, we all feel everything is empty for us. Whether to say such a thing at this juncture, whether it's proper or not, I do not know. That's why tanmam shikshaya natha yat samuchitam vaktum tvai prasthite. My Lord, when you are about to leave, we do not know what to say. You please tell us what to say. So I am requesting our Shatavadhani Ganesh to tell us how we can say thank you to him. We can never thank him. Wonderful company has given for the storehouse of knowledge which he has, part of which he has shared with us during the past 3 lectures. So very special. First day, as our Keshwa mentioned, on Natya Shastra. I don't think we never ever had here a talk on Natya Shastra by anybody like that. And then yesterday Vyasa, Valmiki and Kalidasa, and today Avadhanam. So very special. Those who have attended all these 3, you are the luckiest. Thank you, Ganesh ji, for coming here and blessing the Bhavan. And I feel this stage is a place where all the topmost artists, from Padma Subramaniam, from Ravi Shankar, from Balamurali Krishna, who have come and performed here. And today, one more person has been added to that list, is our Shatavadhani.
I have to remember here with gratitude that Bharati Vidya Bhavan's Bangalore Center, that only hosted by 4 Shatavadhanams and innumerable Shatavadhanams.
Thank you. Now we would like to express our gratitude to Shatavadhani Ganesh ji with the shawl.
Please do join us. Thank you so much. Well, thank you so much. Keshava and Sandhya, we always remember our Shastri ji, one of the most wonderful, wonderful friends of ours, and who served our bhavan here for almost 3 decades and has stimulated so many people to take interest in Sanskrit. And we listen.
Of course, and now I'm so happy that it's. I saw that yesterday's was also recorded, and I really. Yeah. I checked, and I'm going to download it at home when I have Wi-Fi.
And the third one, when it comes, I'll send that to you.
I enjoyed it a lot.
GCSE Sanskrit. Okay, and like just GCSE Sanskrit and just for the civilization.